All right, fifth grade. We are going to do some science now. It is Tuesday, and I see the board behind me, the 24th of March, and science, page 171 and 170. I'm sorry, 172 and 173. Forgive me, let me fix that real quick. Let me fix that for you. All right, there you go. Can you see that? I do a bunch of lessons in one day, and it gets a little confusing. So forgive me. All right, so we are talking about the power of jet propulsion. So let's look real quick at our comp checks. Pretty basic. We have some. We're going to be doing some defining some terms. I have my book all ready to go. So the terms are ramjet, prop, turbofan, afterburner, turbojet, and turboprop. So you know how to do definitions. And then number 2 says, name the 2 men who flew the first powered airplane, and you'll probably already know that answer. All right, so the comp check should not be difficult at all. But let's read about it. Now, the power of jet propulsion, comp check 6.8. Power for flight. In 1903, 2 Americans, the brothers Wilbur and Orville Wright, flew the first powered airplane. Its power source was an internal combustion gasoline engine, very similar in design to the piston engine in a car that we talked about yesterday. The engine turned a propeller or prop that pulled the airplane through the air. Like the Wright airplane, all aircraft until about 1940 flew by means of a propeller attached to a piston engine. So you have your picture. So until about 1940, you have your propeller that spins around in the front of the plane. Now our airplanes, our jets are very different, okay? So, and that propeller is attached to a piston engine. We talked about the pistons going up and down, and it spins the propeller. Jet engines were first developed in both Britain and Germany during the 1930s, and a few airplanes fitted with jet engines saw action in World War II, which was between 1939 and 1945. We're going to talk about that in history in the near future. Since 1945, jet engines have been used increasingly in military and commercial aircraft. Commercial means like when you're flying on a plane with your family to Hawaii. Okay? Jet engines allow airplanes to fly much faster and higher than they could if they were powered by a piston engine and a prop or a propeller. So we know that our modern day airplanes are faster and they can go higher than the old turboprop airplanes. Okay? That's just common sense. How a jet engine works. So the turbojet sounds like a cool word. Most jet engines are gas turbines, because their operation depends upon a rotating turbine inside the engine. So if you look at the picture here on the bottom of the page, you can see the turbine right here, and it's rotated. It rotates around really fast, it says, inside of the engine. The simplest gas turbine engine is called the turbojet. Air is sucked into, let me see, I lost my place, into the turbojet at the front of the engine. Then it passes through a series of rapidly spinning fan-like blades. The blades compact the air so that it is 20 to 30 times more dense than the air outside the engine. Okay, so compact means it pushes it together. We saw that with the compression that we talked about yesterday with the 4-stroke engine. And so we see here when it says air intake, this is where the air comes in. It spins around here in the turbojet, all those spinning fan-like cylindrical devices you see there, and it pushes the air in and it compacts it. Dense means it makes it thicker, okay? So it compacts it. Next, the compacted air flows into the combustion chamber. So find the combustion chamber. So let's go over this again. The air comes in here. It goes through the turbojet here, where it compacts it, and then it shoots it into the combustion chamber. Remember, combustion means burning. That's why we see the burning flames here. Okay? Then, so let's back up and say that again. Next, the compacted air flows into the combustion chamber where fuel is sprayed and burned. And burned. The burning causes a rapid expansion of the compressed gases. They expand. Okay. Let's see where we are. Expansion of the compressed gases. The white hot gases rotate a turbine which spins the fan blades at the front of the engine. After passing through the turbine, the gases rush with great force out of the nozzle at the rear of the engine. The backward push of these hot gases thrusts the engine forward in the same way that air escaping from a balloon causes it to fly through the air. A squid or octopus uses the same kind of jet action when it propels itself through the water by shooting water out of a tube called the siphon. The water shoots in one direction, pushing the octopus or squid in the opposite direction. All right, so think about, I don't have an airplane. Definitely don't have an airplane, but I don't have a balloon with me. But if I had a balloon and blow it up and it expands, and I'm sure you've done this, you hold the tip, and then you go 1, 2, 3, and it spins all over, okay? It's the same kind of concept, all right? But it's the way it goes through the engine that we're talking about has the airplane not go all crazy like a balloon would, but we can steer that, okay? So, again, the air comes in, goes in through the spinning turbojet part where the air is compacted, goes into the combustion chamber where it meets the spray of the gasoline and the air that's gone in. Remember, for burning, we need a source of fuel and oxygen, and then it goes into the turbine which spins, and then it shoots out of the nozzle and the plane is propelled. All right? Pretty much speaks for itself, common sense. And a squid works in the same way. And what other example? And the balloon, like I showed you, okay, like I told you about. All right, so you good? You with me? All right, let's look at page 173. Now we're going to see a turbojet from the back here. Not just we saw the internal part, but now we're going to see it in action in the actual plane, and you could see the combustion chamber. You can see the results of that with the fire and whatnot. Okay, so pretty cool. So turbojet powered military plane. Now we know if it's a military plane, it's going to need to be really fast and very powerful and able to do all kinds of incredible moves and whatnot. So sometimes the nozzle of a turbojet engine is extended by adding an afterburner to it, okay, an extra thrust, an extra push. More fuel is burned in the afterburner, producing more heating and expansion of the gases and giving a great deal of extra forward power, like I said, an extra push. The turbofan. A turbojet with a large fan added at the very front of the engine is called a turbofan. So let's look at that turbofan engine right there in your book, okay? And on the actual airplane, you see it there on the on both sides. That would be for you what is that? Your right and your left? I'm mirroring you, so it's the opposite. All right. So some of the air passes through the fan and into the engine, but the rest of the air passes around the engine unheated. The greater amount of airflow through and around the engine gives greater forward thrust. Turbofans are used in most modern jet aircraft. Okay, so you think of it, some jets are huge. They can carry hundreds and hundreds of people. And so you see that the turbofan has a greater amount of airflow through and around the engine, which gives it greater forward thrust. It's got to push through the air more. People, and just not only that, but think about just the structure of the airplane and how strong it has to be. And you have seats in it, and you have people in it, and you have luggage in it, and whatnot. So it needs that extra thrust. And so you have these huge turbofans on airplanes, okay? Now, the turboprop. A turboprop uses a jet engine to power a propeller. It also works much like the turbojet, except that its turbine is connected to gears which turn the propeller. Hot gases escaping from the rear of the engine give extra forward push. Turboprops are used to propel smaller commercial airplanes, so they don't need the turbofans. They don't need something as powerful. So you see a smaller plane here. And that could be like a private plane. Sometimes you'll use private planes for like sometimes maybe a small business. Maybe they have 20 employees, but they do business all around the country. And so they might fly some of their people for business meetings from LA to New York in something that's a little smaller. Okay, and sometimes like movie stars have planes just to fly from here to their cabin in Aspen or whatnot. They might just need they might need a plane with just, you can see the propellers on both sides. Different than this original one here, obviously, but the same, where's the propeller? Here, but the same kind of concept, okay? So now the ramjet. A special type of jet engine, a ramjet, is designed to function at very high speeds. Because it has no turbine to compress the air entering the engine, a ramjet must be moving rapidly through the air before it can operate. Another engine must be used to build up speed so that the ramjet can get started. Okay, this is kind of a funny story. I had a car once, and you literally had to push it to get it started, and then you had to push the clutch in really fast, and it would kind of sputter and take off. So whenever I wanted to drive in that car, I need to have somebody with me to give it a push so I can push down really fast on the what did I call it? It's been a long time since I've had a 5-speed. I can't remember. But you had to push the, I can't believe I forgot it. You're probably saying it to me right now. Thank you. But you would have to push on that lever on the floor, and it would kick it. It would kick it, and you have to push on the gas at the same time. And then it would get going, and it would sputter down the street, and then it was great until I had to park it again, and then somebody had to come and push it. And so I had a car like that. So kind of a fun example of what's happening here. That ramjet is an extra kind of burst that before it even starts, the plane is already kind of moving, and the faster that it goes, then it kicks in that ramjet a little bit like you had to push my car. Okay, just something fun for you to think about. All right, so let's read that whole thing again. So the ramjet, because it's pretty cool, and you can see ramjet powered missiles. These are no joke. These are going to move faster than anything else that we've been looking at on today's lesson. So the ramjet, a special type of jet engine, a ramjet, is designed to function at very high speeds. Because it has no turbine to compress the air entering the engine, a ramjet must be moving rapidly through the air before it can operate. Like I said, like my car, it needs help. The ramjet doesn't need help, but it's kind of a principle that something has to kick it into gear. Another engine must be used to build up speed so that the ramjet can get started. Like I said, the engine is called a ramjet because air rushing into the engine is compressed by being forced or rammed through a narrow opening before mixing with the fuel. So you get a really compacted, tight burst of what you need before it hits that fuel. Okay? Ramjets work best in missiles. All right, I remember what it's called. It's called the clutch. The clutch in my car, I had to push in and the gas at the same time. That was a great car. I think I left it on the side of the road one day and just walked away. Things are better now. I have a better car. All right, so you know what to do. Define ramjet, prop, turbofan, afterburner, turbojet, and turboprop. And tell me the two brothers that flew the first powered airplane. We're going to learn more about them in history. It's not that they were the first to invent the airplane. Other people had made gliders or whatnot, but they flew the first powered airplane. Okay, gliders, the wind would power it, but they actually created something incredible. And remember, any just a little freebie for you here. any invention, somebody started building on it, and people built and built and built and built and built and built until we have what we have today, like cell phones that can take videos. So even when we're sheltered in place, we can see each other. Think about that for a minute. All right, I'll see you tomorrow with Comp Check 6.9 about the power of rocket engines. All right, I love you guys. I'll see you soon. Get 100 on this. You got this. Bye-bye.